What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Transformers Siege War for Cybertron. This is SKYTREAD. This is another figure that came out in the earlier waves. I want to say Wave 1, essentially, for the Siege line. And this is one of the first Decepticons that we got. I want to say between he himself and Megatron are one of the first few of the very depleted, I want to say, in this line so far of Decepticons. We're getting a lot more Autobots than we are Decepticons right away, but I feel like that's going to be flushed out and be evened out a little bit more further on down towards the end of the year of 2019. But anyway, we've got SKYTREAD here, and he looks really cool. I like that he's got a multi-function transformation, which is really nice. He's got a split-apart body, which we'll get to in a second. But overall, his design and aesthetics, I think, is it's a little bit subtle when it comes to bright paint apps and such. I want to say the most bright paint app that we get is with the cockpit right there, with the Decepticon logo. But overall, I think it does its job. He looks the way he needs to. I think the head sculpt looks really cool. And it's nice that he comes with two weapons. We'll get to that in a little bit as to the functionality of those weapons. Flipping him around to the side, this is what he looks like from the side. We do have some extra paint apps here for the treads. And we also have a little bit of battle damage here for the feet. Not a whole lot of battle damage up top, but I don't think it's really that warranted up top. On the other side, it pretty much mirrors the other side for battle damage. We do have a little bit of paint deco right here for his gun, which is pretty cool. And that's the back side, what he looks like. We do have some extra paint apps here for the rest of the treads on the other side, and we do have some rollers here because he's going to, that's one part of his modes, is his tank mode, and then he's got his plane mode too, or his jet mode. We do have some extra paint apps here for the exhaust vents or intakes, whatever you want to call those. Probably intakes as opposed to being exhausts. We also have some paint deco for the wing tips as well. A little bit extra paint for the larger cannon piece right here. We've got some little, essentially the same color as the treads on the bottom of his feet and on his legs. It's pretty much the same deco going throughout, so wherever you see that, it's going to be applied to other places as well. Getting a close-up of the face, I think the face sculpt looks pretty darn good. This is SKYTREAD without a doubt, and it definitely hasn't been reused as of this moment of this review, and I think it's pretty unique to this character, and I can't wait to see his role in the upcoming series. Very excited about the Siege series on Netflix. Can't wait for it. We do have some extra little paint deco that I didn't point out, so I apologize, right here, and then on the other side right there. So there is a little bit of paint deco on his chest, including the obviously the cockpit right there, which is a like a brighter, almost like a turquoise, kind of like a light blue. I want to say more light blue than turquoise, but looks really good regardless. I like the red for his visor right there, or his goggles, or whatever you want to call them. His eyes, I suppose, would be. He's a little bit hollowed to those of you who are, the people that don't like hollowed parts. I want to say his transformation is very simplistic, but a lot of fun. I find myself saying that a lot with the Siege line. I don't necessarily need a figure to be the most complex with transformations. I mean, if they are complex, those are still fun too on their own accord. But I think here, with the Siege line, these mostly being devoted to probably grabbing new collectors, new young collectors, and old collectors as well. So I think they did a really good job with grabbing that kind of G1 feel with that Cybertronian look. And I find myself saying that a lot with this line, but that's essentially what this line is all about. Now, as far as his articulation does go, let me just get his guns out of his hand really quick, just so I can show you as best as possible his articulation. Let me get some stuff off my review table here. Everything's getting in the way here. The head can swivel at a full 360 rotation if you need it to. He does do a little bit of a pivot side to side, which is pretty cool. And then up and down, looking up and down, which is pretty good. And then I want to say it's a pretty even motion going up and down, so that's good. The arms can go up about that far, and they go down, full 360 rotation in the arm. Oop, wing got in the way. We do have a bicep swivel here, a single jointed elbow, which is more than 90 degrees, which is fantastic, I think. And then we do not have a swivel at the wrist. It's just kind of on a hinge, so you can get the hinge to go in and out a little bit. But unfortunately, there's no swivel there, and that's due to his transformation. He does have a little bit of a waist swivel right here. The back end of the tail section does not fold up or anything. It's just kind of fit in a fixed position, so it does get in the way of him moving, but you can get a little bit of a swivel there. It is there. He can do the splits about this far. Legs go forward, all the way forward. And then the legs don't really go back due to the tail section of his plane mode getting in the way. He does have an upper thigh swivel, a single jointed knee, which is about 90 degrees, which is good. And then he does have ankle pivots, and you can move the foot forward, and he can point the heel about that far. That's about neutral right there. So a little bit of a heel point, but everything on him is really solid. I don't have any issues with loose joints or anything like that. Overall, I think articulation is there. And if you want to go ahead and count some of the these articulated points as well, I guess you can, but I'm talking just basic garden variety action figure articulation here. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with his articulation. Okay, moving on to his gun. I know I pretty much showed the majority of his accessories that he does come with, but here's just an up-close personal look at everything, and I think it looks pretty good. Very nicely done with the, like I said, I pointed out the paint apps. He's got a little, looks like a little bit of an aimer right there, so that's pretty cool. It is kind of like a hollowed plastic with a little bit of paint apps on top. No other paint apps anywhere else. So essentially, that's pretty much it for his cannon piece. Moving on to his pistol. Pretty cool. We got another little sight right here for his aiming. And you can almost see like a little bit of a sight right there for his aiming ability as well. Essentially, it's all hollowed kind of on the side right here. Not a big deal. Nice little paint app right there. It's like a gunmetal paint app, and then it mirrors on the other side. So very well done with the accessories. Okay, so as far as his transformation goes, it's pretty simple, but like I said, a lot of fun to do. I always state this before I start doing transformations. I would kind of do them my own way. I don't go by the steps of the instructions or by what other people do. I do it my way. So I simply like to separate the parts first. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll separate the top from the bottom, if we can do that here. There we go. Just got to give it a little bit of a tug. I'm kind of in a weird position here. So we'll do the bottom first. We'll get to the top second. Simply for his tank mode, this is essentially what it is. It's his bottom portion, his bottom half. You just want to open up these legs and keep them open for a little while because you're going to need them to be open. Next up, you simply just want to bring these feet flat so they are kind of level with the back treads right there. And then I like to attach them like so. There's like a clip system in here. A little clip right there, and then a little port right there, and you just want to kind of push those together and they'll stay. Now next for this section, you want to bring, you want to bring this section up like so, and then just kind of push it up and in and keep this level, and then push this down. And then you're going to see two pegs right here, and they're going to line up right in there and there. So it's pretty simple. Boom, there you go. And now you have two peg holes right here, here and here, and then you have a peg on this side and a peg on that side, and you simply just want to find them. They don't tend to want to stay. That's just something I want to point out. It's not the end of the world for me, but for some other collectors it might be an annoyance. But it doesn't really like to stay pegged in too much, and if I get one side pegged in, the other side pegs out, it's just I don't know. I think it's just the upper thighs pushing on these hinges right here, these hinge doors for his legs. But anyway, you get the gist of it. It's not the end of the world. And then you can take your tank cannon gun and you can put it in the middle. Now, a lot of people put it in the middle. I find that it doesn't peg all the way down flush like you'd like it. There's also not a whole lot of articulation. If you try to move it, it just falls out. So what I like to do is I like to put one right here on this side, and it can swivel, and it goes down much more flush than as opposed to if you were to put it in the center. I feel like this port right here should have been pushed out a little bit more right there, and it would have made a little bit more sense for it. But and you would have got a better depth with the peg, and you would have got better range of motion. And then I like to take his, oh, pardon my arm. Yeah, I like to take his other pistol and kind of put it on this side. So this way, you know, if you have this one in the center, it's not really getting in the way of this one swiveling. This way, if you have them both on the side, he can swivel this way, he can swivel that way, and he can go two different directions if he needs to with that. Now, you can also just leave that in the center if you want to, or leave this on either side, and you can put this pistol with his plane mode, which we'll get to in a second, and I'll show that. I like to have the tank, seeing as it doesn't really have any rear defenses or anything like that, I like to have the tank heavily gunned. So there is his tank mode, and let's see if it slides and whatnot. Let me readjust my camera here. And it does slide fine. You know, there's not really a problem with him moving or anything like that. It's not, the rollers on the bottom work pretty well. He does have 4 rollers right there, there, and there. So pretty self-explanatory as far as that's concerned. But it does roll fine. It looks good. I think aesthetically, as far as a Cybertronian-looking tank, I think it looks pretty cool. Okay, as far as his plane mode goes, it's pretty self-explanatory, pretty simple. It's not difficult, really. Simply what I like to do starting off is just get rid of his hands. Just kind of want to fold those up into his forearm, like so. Not too difficult there. And then fold this one up into the forearm. And then I like to just kind of get rid of the head right away and just push that back like so. And then next I like to take these little panels out like this. Come on. Pops out. Pops out. Then I like to fold those all the way out. Let's keep the wings back for now. And then fold this back like so. So you see these 2 pegs sticking out. Okay, then you want to find the holes, as we all do. And you want to bring the arm in, so you have this peg hole right here facing down. So it just pegs right into the bottom, like that right there. And then bring this in, and then swivel, and peg that in like so as well. Now you can peg this in first so they clip together and then push them down. Any way you want to do it, you can do it, but that is the end result right there. And you're going to have the fist facing downward like so. Okay? Then you just simply bring the wings down because they're going to be up like this. Bring the wings down like so. And there is your jet mode. So that's pretty cool. And the reason why I don't usually put the extra guns that he comes with, and I usually leave him with the tank, is because he has 2 guns right here on his wings, and I feel like that's more than enough for him to use to defend himself or go on the offensive. So, but overall, I think the jet mode looks pretty good. I like it quite a bit. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory as far as it does go. He's simply just a jet and a tank. And let's get his tank mode in here. And everything looks pretty good, man. I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. Let me get that out of the way. I don't know what that was. Probably a piece of paint from another review that chipped off. But overall, I think this is a really nice little setup. Whether you want to have him in vehicle mode or robot mode, I'm assuming most people usually have their Transformers in robot mode for display purposes, so it saves some shelf space. But if you have the extra shelf space and Transformers is your only thing, then you could go either way. But I like the tank mode. I think I like the plane mode a little bit better. It's a little bit more of a tighter knit fit. It's a little bit more fluid than the tank mode due to, you know, these not clipping in, and it's just, I don't know. It's not necessarily that. I think that's probably the worst thing on it. That and the gun doesn't sit flush in the center. Like I said, if you want to put the guns on the plane and just leave the tank as maybe like a scout tank or something like that, you can plug them in right here onto the wings. Like so. Let me focus here so you guys can see. And then there you go. You have two huge guns on his wings. So maybe this scout tank could scan for enemies, and then he sends in his jet portion of himself into for the offensive, maybe like a bait. He uses the tank as bait. But you can just have the tank, like I said, use it in the center. Then you got the it's kind of pointing down. If you push it all the way down flush, it's pushing on this back portion, and it's kind of facing down. But you can have the gun on this one wing. You can also put them over here if you want to. Or you can go in the front. So if you want to have a big gun in the front, you can do that. And it does swivel. So no issues there. But pretty cool. So nicely done. You can also put it up top if you want to. If I can get that out. You also put that up top if you want to. Whatever floats your boat, whatever sinks your ship. So getting him back into robot mode, I like to take the guns off first, and we'll start with the lower half again. Simply open this up, like so. Bring this all the way back and up so you see the crotchal region. Unclip that. I like to bring the feet up first. Fold that back in until you hear a little clip. Clip, clip. And there's your feet. Or your legs, I should say. Your feet. But there you go with that. For the upper portion, we're just going to simply do the reverse of what we just did. In your own little way, if you want to, too. Fold those wings in. Pop this off. Bring the arms out. Bring the arms out. Bring this up. Fold that in until it clips. Fold that in until it clips. And then bring this whole portion down and over. Come on, buddy. Quit fighting me. There we go. And then there you go. His head's up. You want to have these wings back so they're out of the way. He does have a little bit of a backpack. It's not a big deal. And then swivel that over and around until you see these facing outward. And then fold the hands out of the forearms. And then you simply want to take this and just reconnect it right into that little port right there. And there you go. You have SKYTREAD back in his robot mode. The robot mode. The robot mode. Here we go with the robot mode. So, and you can do the Shawn Michaels pose, as I like to call it. All right, let's get him in Shawn Michaels pose. Shawn Michaels pose for you wrestling fans out there. There you go. But there you go with his transformations. Okay, as far as size comparisons go, here's some other figures from the same line. We've got Six Gun on the right, and on the left we've got Hound. Six Gun is obviously the tallest of the three. Then I want to say SKYTREAD is a little bit taller than Hound there. So Hound's a little bit on the shorter side. I want to say he's probably, besides Chromia, the shortest in the bunch so far that we've got. Okay, next up we've got Chromia on the left, and on the right we've got Ironhide from the Siege line. All of these figures are from the Siege line, essentially, and obviously we can see, you know, Ironhide is the tallest of the three, and then you've got SKYTREAD and then Chromia. Next up we've got the Siege Optimus Prime, and obviously he's going to be taller. He is a leader class figure, so there you go with those comparisons. And last up, we've got Sir Gideon Heavensbrand. Okay, so for my final thoughts for SKYTREAD, I think he's a solid a home run hit. I think he's a really good addition to your Siege collection. He was an earlier figure from Wave 1, and I think he's a solid pickup. I mean, we don't have many Decepticons in the Siege line as of this point. And this is a nice addition, I think. I like the transformation. It's simplistic. There's a couple little hinky things about his tank mode, but overall I can get past that, seeing as it does have two other ports on each side, so you can put the guns on each side and they sit properly and they can swivel. It would have been nice if they had a little hinge joint on at least the tank gun, so you could swivel it up and down. But that's just a little nitpick and gripe that I have. Overall, I like the paint apps. I think it's not overdone with with a lot of the paint apps. I know it's a lot of an issue for most collectors. It's just got a little bit of battle damage on his feet and on his thighs. It's not the end of the world. I think where the paint apps are, they're done well. The overall sculpt of the figure is on point. I think he looks great. He looks Cybertronian. And I think he's definitely a solid pickup. So I'll go ahead and give him 2 transforming thumbs up. And I would definitely suggest you go pick him up. But that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always. And I'll see you guys on the flip side.